What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin, the Eye Guy. And so here we have Eye Guy posing out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually see what Eye Guy comes with. He does come with 2 pairs of hands. We do get a pair of fists. Then we get a pair of grip hands. Eye Guy also does come with his eyeball form, which does look really nice. It is on a flight stand with some effect piece circling it. And then his final accessory is an eye blast, which can attach to either his main body or his eye body. Other than that, we really don't get anything else with Eye Guy. So with that out of the way, let's actually move on to his details. And so here we have a closer look at Eye Guy, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm a little bit disappointed with this figure, mainly because the lackluster effort put in by Hasbro. Now yes, he is a very dedicated sculpt and there's a lot of things to like about him, but there's also things that we gotta touch on. For starters, let's talk about something that's nice. I really do like the eye in the center of his face, mouth. I guess this would be his mouth, and then these would be his main eyes, and then his side eyes, and then his main eye. He's just full of eyes. If you look anywhere on his body, he's probably has an eyeball there. But yeah, really do like this center eye right here. They did a really good job with it. Now, I'm not a fan of how they designed the way that you interchange this with the effect part. Now, you can see that he does have tabs right here, and what you're essentially supposed to do is remove the lens and then attach his effect piece. I'm not really a fan of that because 1, you break up this really nice sculpt that is supposed to be his eye. 2, it's a little bit cumbersome when you have to reach in there and pull out from these 2 tabs, and it does make it really noticeable that those tabs are there. So it's not a really nice effort by Hasbro. If they had made it so that the lens would just slide in and out without needing to be pulled out, that would have been much better. But yeah, that effect piece should have just plugged in right here, and that should have been the end of it. So yeah, not a good effort there by Hasbro. Now, I do like the sculpt around Eye Guy's main eye. We do have his mouth right here, or eyelid, which does close if you want him to have the eye closed. So that is really nice. I do like that. And then his center eye is articulated. One thing I'm not a fan of when it comes to this figure is the paint, or the lack thereof. Eye Guy is supposed to be like this off dirty white that you see right here along the mouthpiece right here, as well as right here on these eyes. But other than that, he really doesn't have paint on him. Yeah, you can say that all his eyes are painted, which they're not all painted, which is unfortunate. But he's just this dark, shiny white figure, and I'm not a fan of that. It looks very, very cheap, to be quite honest. And if we turn him around, you can see just how shiny the plastic is. They really should have made him out of a matte plastic, and then, or just like overspray him with a matte coating, because yeah, it is very noticeable that there's a difference in the color of his face right here, where his eye is, and then you just have this stark white, no wash, no nothing. And this does not represent the character well at all. There are spots right here where you can see the off-white, especially here in his hands, but yeah, they just didn't do it for the rest of the figure. And I get that it's a really simple figure, but this is one figure that is so simple you couldn't have messed up, and Hasbro still found a way to mess up. Another thing that they didn't do is they didn't paint all the eyes as eyes. They kind of just look like dots. It's not really a good representation of eyeballs, and there are even some big eyes like right here that aren't even painted on the figure. I would have liked to see a little more care go into this figure, because the monster line was kind of lackluster going into it with the lack of paint on both Pumpkin Wrapper and King Sphinx, but it's even more apparent here. Now, thankfully, they are rectifying that in new releases such as Pudgy Pig, but he was kind of the in-between between the King Sphinx and Pumpkin Wrapper fiasco, and then the good figure that was the Pudgy Pig. So yeah. Paint aside, I do like the fact that he is well sculpted. Like, all the eyes are there. The eyes that should be on him are very nicely sculpted. I just wish they were painted. Some of them are somewhat closed. As you can see, these eyes are partially open, where some of them are fully open. I just would have liked to see more paint on this guy and more care to the actual character, because this, I don't think there's a fair representation of Eye Guy. Like, he's supposed to have a blue eye right here, but you can see, yeah, no eye is painted there. And that's another thing I'm not a fan of, is that they didn't give each eye some unique properties. Now, I know that would have been a huge mountain to climb, but these two eyes that stand out on his chest really need to look like very noticeable different eyes. I believe this one was like an orange, and then this one was like a yellow. They're just brown here, and that's just really unfortunate. Like I said, the eyes, though they do look like they're painted, they just kind of look like brown dots, and that's not really a nice look for the figure, unfortunately. But yeah, my gripes aside, they did the best with what they could give, although I honestly think if they were going to do this, they should have done it right the first time, and it is unfortunate that Eye Guy here didn't get the love and care that he desperately needed, because it's one of my favorite villains from Power Rangers, and the villain of the weeks really do deserve more effort than what Hasbro put into right here. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Eye Guy compared to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have Eye Guy posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Eye Guy posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. And finally, here we do have Eye Guy posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a look at Eye Guy's articulation. Now, Eye Guy, as you can imagine, does not have any articulation in the head. However, his center eye can move to the right and to the left. It can't really look up, but he can look down slightly, so at least that is articulated. And then his mouth right here is articulated, so you can close that center eye. I don't know if you want to call it a mouth or an eyelid, but yeah, that does articulate. His shoulders are on ball joints, so they do pivot forward and back, although not the best that we've ever seen, but they do get some slight pivot. As you can see, they pivot back better than they pivot forward. They do go all the way around, but you can imagine that because of his side eye right here, it does hinder articulation. But if this wasn't here, his arm would be able to do a full 360. Shoulders do go out almost all the way horizontal. He doesn't have a bicep swivel. Instead, he does have a swivel here at the elbow, as well as a single hinge. He does rotate as well as hinge at the wrist, which works pretty well. No mid-torso articulation, but we do get a ball joint here at the waist. As you can see, that does move really nicely side to side, forward and back. Not the best that we've ever seen, but given the character, I'm perfectly okay with it. Now, his hips are on ball joints, so they do go out very far, so Eye Guy can deliver those really nice sweep kicks. Going forward, goes about right there, goes back to about right there, swivel at the thigh. He does have a double bend here at the knee, going very back. I do like that. Then we do have rotation here at his ankle, which is surprising. Then we do have a hinge that goes forward and back, as well as forward-facing pin for rocker ankle. So overall, despite being a very unique character, Eye Guy still has some pretty good articulation. Not the best, but I would have liked to see a little more care given in the details. I think the articulation works for the character. I just wish the detailing was a little bit better. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Eye Guy posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so finally, here we do have Eye Guy posed for my final thoughts. And overall, I like the sculpt on this figure. This is one character that I really wanted to see in the Lightning Collection. However, I don't think Hasbro gave it their all, giving Eye Guy the proper care that he actually needed. I honestly think that if they had molded him and painted him in the same color of plastic that you see his single eye form, he would look so much better. But because they went with this very bright, very shiny white, it is quite noticeable that this figure is missing a lot of paint. Like I said, if it was done in that same true uniform eyeball version, I wouldn't have an issue. But because he is this very bright white figure with some off-white on his face, hands, and that's pretty much it, it is quite noticeable, and I don't think Hasbro really gave it their all making Eye Guy. It looks like it's a cheap cash grab, because the only thing that's really painted on him are a couple of eyes, and then everything else is just dots. We don't get too many eyes per se, they just look like brown dots, which is very unfortunate. Now, he does come with quite a few unique accessories. I do like the single eye form of Eye Guy. The eye blast is very nice looking, but I'm not a fan of the way that they implemented his effect. You have to take the lens out of each eye and then attach the effect piece. Why couldn't they just figure out a way to make it attached to the eye itself without the need of having those little side tabs? It's very confusing on what Hasbro did with Eye Guy. Now, overall, Eye Guy here is a nice figure. He's not 100% perfect, but I do gotta call a spade and say that this is a very phoned-in effort by Hasbro. Now, if you're a fan of the character, I can see you guys wanting to pick this up, or if you want to customize him and make him better yourself, be my guest. But that's one instance where companies really shouldn't be putting out figures that seem incomplete, and Eye Guy here seems incomplete with all the lack of paint and the fact that a lot of those big eyes are hardly painted. I just gotta say, if you're gonna pick this character up, be aware that he's not going to be 100% screen accurate, and he is going to be in this very bright shiny plastic. So Eye Guy here is going to run you about $35, which is quite a bit, seeing as how he's really not painted. I can see spending $30 for this figure if he had more paint, but yeah, I just don't see $35 here, and that is very unfortunate. If I were you guys, I would wait till this guy goes on clearance and pick him up for like 12 bucks, because I don't see the full value here for Eye Guy, and I'm just calling it as I see it. Though he does come with several unique accessories, I don't think it's enough to warrant a pickup right away. So if you can hold off on Eye Guy, definitely do it and pick them up on a sale. So with that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other Power Ranger reviews. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.